Imagine pulling into your favorite gas station, grabbing the nozzle, and in the time it takes to scroll one meme, driving off again, except the pump delivered hydrogen, your tailpipe releases nothing but mist, and you never worried about battery degradation or blackout warnings. While Silicon Valley shouted all electric or bust, Honda quietly converted its best-selling CR-V into a hydrogen beast assembled in Ohio, the first fuel cell car ever built on U.S. soil. Honda News. Rivals were busy counting battery cells. Honda was counting down to a production line nobody believed would turn on this soon. And that's just the opening act. But freedom to break rules didn't land gently. It arrived the moment a billion-dollar merger fell apart. February 2025. Headlines screamed that Honda and Nissan had scrapped months of negotiations to form Japan's biggest auto alliance, Forbes. Financial analysts moaned about lost synergies. But inside Honda's R&D centers, the mood was electric. Ironically, not because of batteries. No shared boardrooms meant no shared compromises. Honda could double the hydrogen budget without asking a partner's CFO. The corporate divorce was the green light engineers had begged for. And if that sounds like déjà vu, wind the clock back a century to a teenager covered in grease. Soichiro Honda wasn't born into boardrooms. He hammered bicycle spokes in his father's blacksmith shop, smelled burnt oil before breakfast, and treated piston rings like treasure maps. When war flattened his first factory, he stitched engines onto broken bicycles so nurses could reach patients. Innovation under fire became the company's compass. That scrappy attitude lives in every Honda badge and explains why the brand keeps betting on tech most competitors dismiss as too early. Early? Maybe. But history shows their engines age into legends. In the smog-choked 1970s, Honda's CVCC engine breezed through U.S. emissions tests without a catalytic converter, stunning Detroit. When drivers wanted fun on a fuel budget, VTEC arrived, morphing small blocks into screaming banshees at high RPM. Now, Honda claims its latest fuel cell stack, built with GM, lasts twice as long and costs just one-third of the Clarity unit from 5 years ago. Honda News. Think about that. The price curve most pundits said would take a decade just crashed in half a decade. So why did their first hydrogen car flop? Simple. The world wasn't ready, but Honda was listening. The 2015 Clarity fuel cell looked like it teleported from 2050. 360-mile range, 5-minute fills, 0 emissions. Yet by 2021, Honda pulled the plug. Reason? Range anxiety's evil twin, infrastructure anxiety. Outside California and a few Japanese prefectures, hydrogen stations were unicorns. Drivers won't gamble their commute on unicorns. Honda retreated, retooled, and watched EV fever devour headlines. Behind closed doors, the team vowed, next time the tech launches, the pump network will already be sprouting. Sprouting it is, and the comeback vehicle wears a familiar badge. Slide behind the wheel and it feels, well, normal. That's the genius. 2 carbon fiber tanks cradle 10,000 psi hydrogen beneath the cargo floor. A US-built fuel cell stack feeds a brisk electric motor. A small plug-in battery gives 29 miles of grocery run silence. Official EPA range, 270 miles plus those battery errands. Refuel time, shorter than ordering a latte. And if an ice storm kills your home's power, flip a switch. The CR-V's power supply connector becomes a rolling generator. Honda News. Underneath the family-friendly sheet metal lurks a lab on wheels, co-engineered by Honda and GM. Proof that hydrogen tech isn't a moonshot. It's lunch break serviceable. But why fight the EV tidal wave at all? Because that wave is hitting rough reef. Batteries drink lithium, cobalt, nickel. The rare metals markets are spiking like meme stocks. Strip mines scar deserts, and recycling pipelines lag a decade behind sales curves. Power grids groan. California begged owners to avoid fast charging during last summer's heatwave. Even with aggressive spending, the state will miss its own hydrogen station goal by 60%. Yet globally, the network quietly crossed 1,000 pumps in 2024. Meanwhile, EV charge times shrink in lab press releases, but still stretch coffee breaks into naps on rural highways. Hydrogen solves none of these problems perfectly, but it dodges most in a single pivot. Refuel fast, build tanks from common materials, and decouple mobility from the electric grid bottleneck. Honda, of course, isn't gambling on passenger cars alone. In Brownstown, Michigan, a 70,000 square foot joint venture with GM now mass produces fuel cell stacks for semis, diggers, and backup power plants. 80 new jobs, world first volume line. Honda News. In Japan, Honda sits in a 5-brand task force exploring e-fuels, ammonia combustion, and hydrogen racing engines. Because motorsport sells tech faster than brochures. They're even piloting portable H2 stations the size of shipping containers. Land one at a construction site, power excavators all week, drive it away. Each spin-off widens demand, which drags costs down, which invites more demand. A self-feeding flywheel the battery lobby hoped would stay theoretical. And here's where the showdown gets spicy. Scenario 1. You're on a cross-country dash. A top-tier BEV promises 310 miles, but winter slashes that by a quarter. Chargers are crowded, and your 250 kilowatt pit stop lasts 35 minutes. The CRV FCEV? Roll in, swap 5 kilograms of hydrogen in under 5. Roll out with roughly 400 miles of real-world cushion, because cold barely dents fuel cell efficiency. Scenario 2. Raw materials. A single long-range EV battery tips the scales at 1,000 pounds of metals. A fuel cell stack uses a coffee spoon of platinum and sips recycled carbon fiber every few years. Scenario 3. Grid pressure. 10,000 fast chargers draw the same juice as a mid-sized nuclear plant. 10,000 hydrogen pumps draw none. Will hydrogen erase EVs? Number. It doesn't have to. Parity and even 10% of the market forces every manufacturer to rethink range, charging, and resource chains. Competition breeds miracles. Complacency breeds quarterly profit slideshows. Which brings us back to that mist slipping from a tailpipe. Honda's revival of the engine isn't nostalgia. It's rebellion against a one-solution narrative. If the CRV EF CEV succeeds, the same stack can shrink into Civics, stretch into pickups, or power apartment blocks when hurricanes darken grids. And because hydrogen can be cracked from water using sun or wind, the feedstock is as common as morning dew. So next time someone tells you the engine era ended, hand them a glass of water and ask if they're ready to fuel up. Loved the ride? Drop a like, share the surprise, and smash that subscribe so you never miss the next twist in the race to reinvent motion.